I'm JC, and this is going to be a quick practice today. So for today, we're going to do something pretty simple. We're going to just, well, first I'm going to talk about some tool stuff. I'm just going to fine tune this tool. I was thinking of just doing it off camera, but then I thought, why not just show? Because a lot of people can't get access to these wonderful sculpting tools that are really just dental tools. So this one, remember this set I've mentioned many times, is readily available. If you look up shapers, you can find them online. They sell them at Michael's or any major craft store like that. You get a 3-pack. It has rubber on one side, these really nifty spheres on the other, which I use all the time. And if not, you can get wooden tools pretty much anywhere, or make them yourself out of dowels that are quite cheap. But if you don't want to carve too much, you can start with a tool that's similar to this. These come in like ceramic or pottery tool kits, and something this small would be quite useful. These are quite small, as you can see in my fingers. But the ones that you can get, like I said, these were made just from dowels. I carved them myself. However you want to make them, just get a dowel. It's just a wooden rod like this. They come in all kinds of different sizes. You can get little ones. You can also use bamboo skewers like this and carve those down with a knife or sandpaper. So just even some simple sandpaper like this. This is whatever this is, 220 grit. Holding it in your hand so that it rounds it off naturally. If you do it on a table, it would get super flat, but if you want to keep things naturally round, using the palm of your hand is a good starting point. As you can see, that grit will tear through wood pretty fast, but if you want it to be smoother than that, you can always just up the grade of your sandpaper, the number, higher number, finer the grit, and you can achieve a very smooth, polished surface pretty quickly with just a couple of different sandings like that. So you can see this heavy grade will take quite a bit out of the surface very fast. Now I'm trying to just make a very sharp, flat on one side and rounded on the other side shape, which I find just extremely useful for almost everything I want to do. Just like getting your finger really small and into the sculpture where you want it to be. And having a little curve to it doesn't hurt either. Like a general curve to the tool, you'll find that you can press and pull. As you can see, just a little bit of sanding. I've cleaned off whatever junk was on there and made it quite a bit sharper. So I'm going to use the other side because it's rounded the other way to match, so I don't carve too much into it. Nice and simple. Now again, I could polish this down, but I'm not too worried about it. I think this will be fine for the demo for today, but if I really wanted to get a super polished, smooth surface on my clay, it's only going to be as smooth as the piece that I'm rubbing against it. You can still do quite a bit. I mean, even your fingerprints will act as almost like sandpaper against the clay, but having the right shape to start and the right amount of polish on the surface really helps. Excuse me. So yeah, the other side I was just cleaning it up this way. It had like a sort of a curved point. I sanded the tip off that point by mistake, but it's okay. I still like having this other shape too, this sort of an axe wedge, and rounding off the corners is not a bad thing either. I find it really useful. Okay, let's switch to big screen and get some stuff going here. So for today, we're just going to do really simple and quick, just a couple of facial features on a piece of clay. It's a really good practice. If you're trying to get into doing a face or any kind of likenesses, the more you practice this, the better you're going to get. So to start off, we're just going to do the simplest face features all by themselves. So it's always a good habit, and it's a good lesson to start. And a lot of the lessons I do, we start with this, with the hand, with various facial features, just by themselves. So you're not worried about the whole overall, you're not worried about smushing it because you're holding on to it. So starting with a small piece like this, maybe the size of your finger digit, and then we're just going to press a line in. So I'm going to do with the simplest version first. So let's say we block out our width of lips like that. We're going to do the corners, like I say, always important. Start with those corners. The lips wrap around teeth. Teeth are not flat in the front. It's a very common mistake. People do not curve the lips like that. And when you do it in a piece like this, it gives you the ability to even curve it more like that if you want to really exaggerate it. And obviously the skin around and the muscles around the lips will change as they transition, but this is still a really good exercise to start you off in how to do lips. So again, corners. I'm just going to try to use this one tool to keep it simple. And then the lips themselves, you can either press them up first or outline it first. It doesn't really matter. I usually just press a little bit like that. I'll try to keep it in frame. So if I press the inside out first, so one big press at the bottom, two little presses at the top with the point of the lips, and then it's just about outlining. So the way lips transition into the mouth, they curve into the inside there. So if you follow that curve by rolling your tool, see without much pressing, I'm already getting pretty close. And then you can do a little bit under the lip, and obviously this changes quite a bit depending on what and who you're trying to match. So, you know, I'm just doing a very generic lip. So, okay, pressing, curling that in, there you go. So same with the top, you can, this can of course change quite a bit, but just see, moving my way into that corner of the mouth will make it that much more, so much more realistic, so much quicker. And that's really it, just really simple presses, really quick presses. You can do a little bit in the center here, transition up to the nose, and that's it. Quick. And anything beyond that is matching likeness and training yourself here to do both sides without your X mirror on is always good practice. Boom. Oh, hello. Thanks, you're welcome. And I'm glad. I'm hoping somebody will get something out of this. I'm happy to share. I'm really just trying to get this stuff down for, I don't know, for myself, and it helps me to get things going. Getting a lot more done in recent weeks than I have in a long time. So I'm quite happy with this. So there you go. Lips of this size. So this is about, you know, size of my nail. I'm just going to keep doing the same. Oh, I wish I had my ruler handy. I wanted to show the size. Anyway, this is roughly a ½ inch between my fingers right there. So obviously this would be for a head that's about, let's say a 1/6 scale doll. So that would be almost 22 inches tall, like a sideshow large size. So if you're doing anything smaller than that, if you want to do like a 12th scale or smaller, it's a bit harder, but I highly recommend, if you're going to do something and sizing down, try it at this scale first, especially if you're trying to match a likeness of a character or an actual person. You will find that just doing these quick sketches is going to help you achieve that likeness so much quicker, and it just is good practice. Every time you redo it, you're going to get better and better at it. Okay, so like I always say, don't be attached. Smushy. Now let me do the same thing smaller. So I'm going to flip the clay and do a half-size version of that, just to show you the same thing. And it's tricky to do, but you know, like I said, just giving it a try. Why not, right? So I'm going to measure about half the distance. So this is again shrinking down the scale quite a bit. So this is now, I'd say, another half of that. So yeah, I went from about the 18 to 20 inch doll down to a 10 inch, or maybe, yeah, about that, 8 to 10 inch doll. So same thing, just gonna press. You can the ball helps with this, but I'm really trying not to use multiple tools, so I'm just going to try to press it in and do it with this one tool. But it's the same exact strokes, same things, and yeah, this will wrap it up for today on the quick lessons. So again, like I said, just try it in different sizes, work your way down. If you find that any of this is too small, just do it bigger. You can start quite large. I might just do the same thing again in terracotta today for the water clay or earth clay lesson. I'm going to try to keep this on the darn camera. It's hard for me to focus and look at it and then make sure it's still there. But I think you can see that it's still possible, even with this big tool. Does not take that many presses. And I'm not 100% sure. Like I always say, it's just a matter of trying it, pushing, pulling back and forth. Same principles as if you're modeling it in ZBrush. Sometimes you just have to go for it. Sadly, there is no undo on the clay, but I kind of find that a little more interesting. So there you go. That's even smaller. But hopefully you can see how useful it is to start with the corners of the mouth like that. It is just leaps and bounds ahead in realistic shape once you do that. Always when you're modeling too, or even in clay, look at it from the bottom, look at it from the top. Make sure you can see that curve, that bow shape of the lips, and then the out of the cheek there. So obviously the rest of it would come into there. You'd have the little crease there, depending on the person, going up to the nose, and then of course the way the muscles wrap around the lips underneath and all that. So that's it for today for quick lessons. Hope you enjoyed. I'll be right back with a couple other things. I'm probably going to do some more painting on the dolls. Don't be attached, guys. Just smush it. It's good practice. And yeah, so I'll get back to the painting. I did a bunch more yesterday, but I'll be back in a few minutes. I just want to keep these little series separate from each other, so I can keep my